I look back to that version of myself and I'm like, girl did not have an opinion. She didn't have opinions on a lot of things. I was very much, I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you say. That was the tune I sung for so many years. At the time, I thought that was being true to who I am, wanting to be kind to everyone and never stepping on anybody's toes. But knowing what I know now and looking back, I just go, gosh, girl, we should have stepped on toes more.
You are always attracting energy into your life. The question is, what can you be mindful about attracting? I'm Shannon Bills, mindset mentor, energy healer, and intuitive reader. And today, we're having mindfulness for breakfast.
Today's podcast is brought to you by people pleasers. Are you a people pleaser? Did you know that 56% of women and 42% of men identify as people pleasers? That's a lot of people, guys. And I want to change that. So today we are going to be healing those people pleasing tendencies. I am a people pleaser. I am a recovering people pleaser, I should say, because it's something that I have been actively healing for the last 10 years or so, and the journey never stops. And maybe you've been working on it too, and if not, you're starting your journey today with me. So those numbers I got, 56%, 42%, I was just curious before I did a whole podcast on people pleasing. I wanted to know how many people of the world actually identify as a people pleaser. And it was a YouGov poll that said 56% of women, which is more than half of women, identify as people pleasers, and 42% of men identify as people pleasers. And it is something that I see in almost everyone I know. Yeah, I would say, especially females, almost every female I know has some sort of people pleasing tendency. Shout out to every single woman in my life. I'm putting you on blast right now. I'm going to explain all the ways that it shows up in my life, that it shows up in my clients' lives and my friends' lives, because we don't recognize how much we are actually doing it. The reason we are people pleasers, I think at its core, is because of fear of rejection, fear of conflict, and needing to be liked by others, like seeking other people's approval. Like these are all very normal things to desire. Who wants conflict? Nobody, right? Who wants to be rejected? That doesn't feel good. Who wants to be liked? I do. That feels really nice. But at the same time, that means that we are putting ourselves on a back burner. We are letting other people's opinions or actions win over what is true to ourselves. And when we do that over and over again, we are lowering our self-worth. We are dropping out of our power. And if there's anything this mindful work, this metaphysical work, this spiritual work, this intuitive work, whatever we want to call the work that I do, what it has shown me is self-love, self-worth is the foundation of all areas of your life. Once you build this up, you're strong, baby. You're solid. You are untouchable. That's a long journey to build that foundation solid, and it's something I've been actively working on, and not every day is a good day. But this topic has been on my heart this week because it's come up a lot in conversations with a lot of my clients. I would say my first memory of people pleasing stems from being a little kid. I think a lot of people have similar childhoods where you are taught to be a kind girl, right? Or kind boy. Say thank you, say please. Don't celebrate your wins too much with that person because that might make somebody feel a certain way, or you have to act like this, or you have to be like that. That's generally how society raises children. There's something to that, of course, but at the same time, I think that's what starts the people-pleasing journey. Fear of being rejected and not being able to speak your mind. I also think there's a difference between speaking your mind from a place of ignorance and speaking your mind from a place of love, even if that sometimes means losing friendships. And gosh, that took a while for me to even get to a place like that, because younger me, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, I loved having friends. I loved being social. I think anybody that knew me, especially in like middle school, high school, I was a little social butterfly. I prided myself going, I am friends with everyone and everybody knows me. And I felt like that tied into my self-worth. I literally felt like the more friends you have, the more, not just like outwardly popular you are, because totally that was a desire of mine in middle school especially. Can't fault myself for that. But inwardly popular. I remember I loved hearing those praises of, oh, she's always so busy. She has so many friends. But I look back to that version of myself and I'm like, girl did not have an opinion. She didn't have opinions on a lot of things because I was very much, I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you say. Oh, you like this outfit more versus this outfit? Great. I like that outfit too. What are you thinking? Whatever you think is the best answer. Like, that was the tune I sung for so many years. At the time, I thought that was being true to who I am, wanting to be kind to everyone and never stepping on anybody's toes. But knowing what I know now and looking back, I just go, gosh, girl, we should have stepped on toes more. We should have formed our own opinion. I'm actually, okay, wow, this is coming up in real time. So one of my biggest memories that I had to heal and reframe for myself was when I was a freshman in college. I went home for Christmas break and I was hanging out with all my friends. And I don't remember what the conversation was, but it essentially led to someone in my hometown friend group saying, well, you never really have an opinion, Shannon. You're always kind of doing what others are doing. And that sentence alone rocked my world for years. For years. Something I've only maybe healed in the last 5-6 years. And I could look back now and go, wow, she was just reflecting my truth and what I actually needed to heal from and what I actually needed to find my power in. But in that time, I just sat with those words, following what other people are doing. It rattled me for so long because I'm like, what do you mean? I went to a different college than everyone else from my hometown. I rarely dated any guys from my hometown where, hometown friends tend to date each other or marry each other. And I just remember getting so heated, not outwardly, because again, people pleaser, can't cause any confrontation. But for years and years, I sat with that and I'm like, what did this girl mean by that? And I don't even know why she thinks that's true. But really, it was true. And I needed to hear that. I think my soul wanted me to wake up to the fact that it was time to stop living for others and start living for me. I'm just piecing that together now with part of my people-pleasing journey. And hearing those words led me to going, I can't be this anymore. I don't want to be this anymore. I want to have my own opinions. I want to carve my own path and be my own person. And that will ultimately always lead me to higher levels of self-worth and following what my heart desires and not what other people are desiring. So that is definitely a big example of people pleasing. But that was me in a nutshell as a kid. Like I loved having all these friends. And as each year goes by, I'm like, I love that my friend groups get smaller and smaller. I do. And I'll never forget one of my first jobs. My coworkers had just turned 30. And she said, I don't need any more friends. I don't want any more friends. And I remember my 21-year-old self thinking, oh my gosh, like, why would somebody say that? I want all the friends in the world. I don't have the time and energy for all the friends in the world. I really don't. And if you are on the other side of your people pleaser recovery, you will feel me on that. If that triggered you, we got some healing to do. So those are a couple of different examples of me people pleasing as a kid or as a young adult. And same thing with saying yes all the time. With having a lot of friends came a lot of plans and a big social calendar. And so I said yes to everything. I would have a brunch. I would have a lunch. I would have a afternoon party. I would have a dinner. I would have an evening party. Like I would pack my social calendar, especially when I first moved to Los Angeles. One of my first intuitive healers out here, her name's Helena. You will probably hear me reference her quite a bit. I call her my LA mom. She was my massage therapist at the time and is very intuitive. She used to tell me, slow down, baby. Be where your feet are planted. You're too busy. Honor your energy. Honor your time. And in my early 20s, I used to just kind of brush that off because, again, I'm like, well, I want to be the girl that has a lot of friends and has FOMO if she misses out on anything. And I want to make sure that my East Coast friends know that I am so busy being in California and already starting my California journey with this massive social calendar. Like, it was all about that in my early 20s, even mid 20s, having fear of missing out when I wasn't at these things, or feeling guilty if I had to say no about something. So those are ways that it was showing up in my life. The way I'm seeing it show up in my students' lives, I'll give you an example of just the last few sessions I've had. I have a student who is going through a breakup right now. I love her, and I will never share names, but it's helpful for you guys to hear these real-time, real-life examples because I'm sure that you can relate to this as well. So she is somebody that loves really deep and really fast. And she has been on and off with this guy for a while. And for the last couple months of working together, she has said more negative about this guy than positive. They've also broken up a couple of times. I think as a people pleaser, one of the big signs of that is forgiving people who refuse to change. And that is what was showing up in her life. I think she's waking up to the fact that they're not changing, and so she's going to step away from that. And that is one way that we can heal people pleasing. Instead of trying to fix things or wanting them to work or forgiving people easily, we can decide to let go of this, step away from it. That is the stronger, more powerful decision. Another way that I see friends or clients people please is when they are unloading something to me. Maybe they're talking about something with their partner, their best friend, their relationships, their boss, whoever, and they're venting everything to me, saying, I want to say this to them and this to them. And I'm like, yes, you should. You should say this to them. They deserve to know how you are feeling. And there's a way you can come from love in saying these things. And the way that they people please is they become too passive. I ask them, did you talk to them? Did you say what you wanted to say? And they usually will say, kind of. They start sugarcoating it, which tells me that they sugarcoated what they wanted to say to that person. They become so passive about it. Sometimes they might not even say anything at all and just continue to brush it under the rug. That's another form of people pleasing. Another one that I see with a lot of students of mine, I work with a lot of actors, and there are a few actors that I'm still working with where I coach their auditions. And I work with this one actor specifically because I point it out to him all the time. He apologizes for everything, for breathing the wrong way, for looking over here the wrong way. Like he thinks he's doing something wrong every single second he opens his mouth. And that to me shows somebody that has not fully stepped into their power. And don't worry, I'm not talking about him behind his back. I say this to him in our sessions. And that feeling of always overly apologizing because you don't want someone to be mad at you or you don't want to start conflict, you immediately are course correcting by just saying, I'm sorry. It is another way that you're stepping out of your power. You don't have to be sorry all the time. I even catch myself. I really try to find my micro moments throughout my day with my wording of what is the more powerful statement that doesn't lower my self-worth, that is coming from a place of love, but not lowering my self-worth. So those are the examples that I can think of at the top of my head with people pleasing. I'm hoping that some of this resonates with you and points the mirror back to you saying, hey, look at what you are doing. This is how you are stepping out of your power. This is you not being connected to your self-worth. And the thing I want you to remember especially if you've been people pleasing for a while and you really do have this deep fear of rejection or fear of conflict or needing to be liked by others. I understand where that comes from. And I understand how scary that can feel when you now are starting a new pattern that goes against those things. It can feel scary. It can feel uncomfortable. But coming from somebody that has been actively doing this the last few years, there has never been a thing I have said that I have regretted. Those are things that I am now so intentional about reacting to from a place of love and power that puts me first. That's the thing. Putting yourself first is not selfish. It is a selfless thing. And the more that you can continue to step into that one, the more connected you are to your power. I think the more that rubs off on people. I think people admire the heck out of that. I get it reflected back to me all the time, how open I am. And my friend group always laughs and jokes, being like, Shannon is the queen of confrontation, because I don't see confrontation as a bad thing. I see it as speaking your mind in a loving way and getting to nip something in the bud quickly versus delaying it, dragging it out, letting it fester, letting that anger sit in your body. I think one of the biggest gifts and tools you can give yourselves is recognizing the feeling that's coming up quickly and then deciding, do I want to sit with this? Do I want this to take over my body, my thoughts, my beliefs? Or can I just release this right then and there? And it's something I've been actively doing that has cost me friendships. It has. But I look back at those conversations that have maybe cost me those friendships, and I look back and go, I'm so damn proud of myself because I came from a place of love. I said those things to not just help myself, but help that other person. And if they don't see that, that's on them. You know, like I'm so proud of the person that I'm becoming, because I really do try to make every single step in my life as mindful and as intentional as I can. Even just saying that out loud, I feel like I'm getting like a gold star, gold ribbon from my higher self, being like, yes, she is learning. She's releasing the people pleaser in her. And so hopefully this conversation today lights that fire in you to stop it, because you don't want to live your life with regrets. You don't want to live your life at someone else's expense. That is the quickest way to drop out of your power. And what this podcast is about is connecting to your truth, finding your power, sitting in your power, actively releasing throughout your days, throughout your weeks, to make sure you are being truthful to what your energy is asking you every single moment. That is only going to build a stronger you, a more respectable you, a more magnetic you. So, your breakfast item for today is a couple journal prompts on people pleasing. I want you to think about the conversation that you've been wanting to have with that person in your life that maybe is taking too much of your time, too much of your energy, somebody that doesn't feel good. What are you not saying to this person? That's what I want you to reflect on at first. What are you not saying to them that you maybe are saying behind their back or saying in your mind and it's really eating at you? What are you not saying? And your second question, why is it important for this person to hear this? Why can you be the gift to reflect back to them what they maybe need to hear? Why is it so important for this person to hear this? Sit with that. I hope this helps heal the people pleasers out there, and I will see you guys next week.